Hello, welcome to Closing Chapters, Everyday Real Estate Tales. I'm your host, Brittany Fry. I'm a realtor, I'm a military wife, and I'm a mom. Join me and come transaction by transaction throughout my real estate career starting back in 2016 to hear about the highs, the lows, and the unexpected turns along the way through all of my customers. It's going to be a crazy ride, you guys. I am so excited to share the past, the current, and then what's coming in the future. Hang tight for the ride. Join me about being a realtor, a military spouse, and a mom. Can't wait to see you there. Happy Tuesday, folks. It is December 12th, 2023, and I'm coming with you with an extra quickie episode. The main reason I really wanted to make this episode was honestly to have a bookmark of time and a memory and to count my blessings. If you all know where I'm located, I'm in Clarksville, Tennessee. My husband is stationed at Fort Campbell Army Base here. And this Saturday, December 9th, we had a tornado come through town. And we were extremely lucky not to have damage at our property. And across the street from us was not so lucky. So there was a lot of thoughts, systems, things to say and get out there and help others plan in case there is another future emergency. So during the storm, we honestly thought that it wasn't so bad. I mean, the sirens were going off, the warning sirens, and we were hanging out in our closet. And after everything settled, I asked my husband if we could go drive across the street to the next neighborhood over because I was getting ready to write an offer on a house there that I had shown Saturday morning, and I wanted to make sure everything was okay. And we thought it was really silly because, when we walked outside, other than things getting tossed around in our yard, everything was totally fine in our neighborhood. And, people were hunting down trash cans. That was about it. So we didn't have power, but otherwise we were fine. Our properties were fine. So we went ahead and cruised over to the neighborhood across the street, and they were not fine. It was mind-boggling to think that literally, in sight of our house got hit, and we got nothing at all. We were so blessed and thankful at all, and truly blessed and thankful. Every time we go out and we see more damage and see how bad it honestly was, we have just counted our blessings. But unfortunately, property I was going to write an offer on did sustain damage, and I felt really bad because when we were there, we did notice that they had an emergency services jacket at the front door, and I knew the sellers worked 12-hour shifts. We had scheduled around that, so it felt really helpless to know that these sellers, were probably working in emergency services and couldn't even take the time to go check on their own house or make sure everything was okay. So I immediately got a hold of the listing agent to let him know. He was 3.5 hours away, really had no clue that anything had happened. And I couldn't send him pictures because all of our cell service was down for the most part. I could get calls to go out here or there, but the texts weren't going through. So eventually I did. But I just felt like if there was some way that I could let the seller know, that they had damage to their house. The house itself wasn't so bad all around, but there was like a corner of the roof over the primary bedroom that had a hole in it through the plywood, and it was still raining out. So it's just like if they could just cover it, get it isolated, then they won't have so much damage on the inside of the property. Their neighbors were not so lucky. There were neighbors with holes in the side of their houses, the whole second story taken off. A lot of garage doors were ripped out. A lot of the cars were pushed up into the houses. It was a really scary sight to see, and just so mind-boggling. When I say we closed the door to the closet and we were okay, like it was relatively quiet and we could hear the rain, but that was it. And when you hear stories about tornadoes, you just think that it's a really huge, loud, big production. And if you guys want to know the distance that I'm talking about, honestly, go to my Instagram. You can look through my reels, and I drive from my neighborhood literally across the street. So the main road, that comes out to my road, to my neighborhood, and literally right across, all of it was hit. And so we have had a hard time wrapping our heads around the fact, like, how do we not know that it was that bad, that happened? And we were just isolated, we couldn't hear, we couldn't see because we were tucked away. So anyways, always count your blessings. And on the flip side, the next thing I did the next day was go, okay, what insurance agents do I know? What information can I get? And so one of our local insurance agents, sure enough, had a really good post about the steps to take if you had damage or if you're in a situation like this. So via her guidelines, the best thing you can do is automatically call and let them know that you have damage. Even if you don't know the extent of it, just tell them, hey, my neighbor said I have damage, or hey, I went by the house and I have damage, and then get the claim started so that they get somebody out there, an adjuster out there, to start looking and getting you an idea of what's going on, whether you have a loss or not. And then 2, document. Take pictures, take videos, write down anything that you had in the house that you can't access while it's fresh in your head. After the dust settles, you go into fight or flight mode, you're grieving, there's so many other things happening. But in that moment that things just happen, a lot of times people are so stoic and it hasn't really settled or hit. That is the time that you've got to focus and really get as much down on paper as you possibly can so that it can help you in the future. And then the next thing they said was to try to salvage anything that you can as long as it is safe. So if you can access your property and you could get some of the items out of it, then do that after it is safe. And what I mean by that is predominantly electricity, right? Obviously structural integrity as well. But when the power is off, but they were trying to restore it, so you need to make sure that all the power was isolated to all these properties before you're going in and out of them, potentially being around live wires and water, things of that nature. But also just the safety in general. How much debris is there? Is there metal? Is there any structural integrity issues? If you don't feel safe or don't know, then wait. They did a great job of having first responders go all around the communities, checking in on people, helping with that. So hang tight. It's not an emergency situation to get in the house and get things out. Obviously, it would be great to get it out as quickly as possible so it doesn't get damaged further. However, safety is always the priority there. And then after that, she said, keep your receipts. If you have to stay in a hotel, if you have to get food, keep your receipts, because sometimes insurance can help you with that. They can pay you back. So the next big thing is, once you have access to community efforts, you've got to tap into that. They did a phenomenal job here setting up the Red Cross at our local high school. A lot of the churches are taking donations. There's charitable organizations in town taking donations, and they are set up in very strategic places all around town to get you guys supplies, food, shelter, whatever you need. And today there was a post that there was a church across the street from me that they were saying was not really getting tapped into. They have a ton of stuff and they don't have a lot of people coming in and getting any. I know it's hard sometimes when these things happen. We all want to be prideful. We all want to just get our own things, or, say, oh, somebody has it worse than me, I'll figure it out. You don't need to do this alone, and you don't need to figure it out alone. Lean into your community. It's here for you. There are people that want to cook a meal for you. There are donations waiting for you, and it is okay. You can absolutely take advantage of the services that are being provided for you. It gets really costly, you guys, to stay in a hotel, to stay in an Airbnb, whatever the case may be, long term. So it is to your benefit to use the services while they are here, because they will not be here for forever. A lot of times when you have situations like this, you have all these services come in, all these organizations that are doing donations for a short period of time, and then once things are settled, all that kind of goes away. And by then, when things get tight and you're all of a sudden realizing that you need help that you didn't take and you could have had it. So please, 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 please ask for help with your property if you need it. Lean into the shelters, lean into the donations, lean into the free food. It all adds up, folks. It all adds up. So take the help. Okay? And then the next thing is obviously keeping on top of your insurance claim and then making steps forward. Does that look like getting into an apartment for a little while, renting another property? Are they going to give a total loss to the house? And following through that process. Also, it would be very wise for you to immediately contact your mortgage company if you have damage. then you can't get back into your house. I mean, if it's enough that your house is not livable, you need to contact your mortgage company quickly and let them know what's going on as well. That way they are aware and can assist you and make plans going forward additionally. So just a recap for the community here, we got up to about 150 mile an hour winds with this tornado. And I think they said the tornado was like 600 yards wide. It's insane. And we had 243 total losses for houses and over 1,700 that were damaged just in Clarksville. And there was other communities around the area that it touched down in as well, like Springfield, Cumberland Furnace, a couple areas like that. So anyhow, this is a reminder that things can happen close to home in an instant. We were literally having muffins with Santa, 2 hours before this happened. Everybody was together at my office. We were all doing our thing. Had no idea that it was going to get so bad so quickly. So also remember, if you're on the road and this happens, get in a safe spot and stop and get isolated very quickly. There were vehicles that got flipped over on the highway, and they should have gotten out, gotten in a low spot, done whatever they could. Get inside of a building, get yourself isolated quickly. So anyhow, we ended up with 6 lost lives in the Middle Tennessee area from this tornado and a lot of injuries, and we are recouping, you guys. So if you ever go through this again, I hope you can find this podcast. I hope it gives you a little bit of hope and encouragement and some action steps to take. And I honestly hope that you never have to listen to this podcast for that purpose. I hope this can just be a place marker, a memory, some knowledge, and that we'll never need to use it again. But the reality is these things happen a lot, all the time, whether it's a tornado or a hurricane or a flood, fires. It can happen any day. So always keep your eyes and ears open. If you see somebody that is struggling or going through something like this, absolutely try to see how you can help them, point them in the right direction, and just check in after the dust settles, okay? Give it a week or two and then check in. Make sure they're still doing okay, because I think that's when it's going to get hard, right? Right now, everybody has so much support and everybody's all together. And once everybody kind of goes back to reality, I think it's going to get hard for the folks that were impacted. They're going to be feeling like they're just left all alone, and the help is not to be found anymore. And it's really going to start to sink in what truly happened to their home and their possessions. So if you ever need this help, if you ever experience this and need an ear to listen, please reach out to me. I am always willing to help and listen and be a sounding board and a voice of encouragement. You guys, I hope you have a fantastic Tuesday. Remember, find joy in everything you do, especially this season of the year. It's a blessing to have family and friends and a beautiful community all around you.